Alright guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to do something different once again. The purpose of my channel is to give you guys some perspective with regards to Shiba Inu cryptocurrency. Now, we all love to talk about going to the moon and we all love talking about the 1 cent dream, but no one likes to tell you about the inevitable swings which are a natural part of market swings and market cycles and the potential impact on Shiba Inu. Today's video is not going to be for everyone. If you like Shiba Inu to reach the moon in a nice straight line, then I suggest that you exit this video and watch one of those videos which promise that we'll all be billionaires next week after we contact them on WhatsApp. Today I'm going to show you some of the latest market analysis and the market insight from some of the best analysis in crypto at the moment. Now, I'm going to discuss about how the market is going to play out in 2022 according to those analysts. And I'm also going to do a simulation, as usual, on how this may impact particularly on the Shiba Inu token. And then we're going to give some tips on how to ride the wave. All right, guys. Welcome back to SHIB Planet, everyone. This is Ace. Today's video, it would not have been possible without the aid of my handy dandy crypto simulators, which I'll leave a link in the description below. Alright guys, let's get right to it. If you're familiar with my channel, then you'll know that I extensively use the Bitcoin stock to flow model in most of my channels, and I use this as a basis to gauge the momentum of the market. Well, recently I spent several hours listening to the creator of this model, and I learned some interesting things of note. It turns out that market analysts are still very convinced that 135,000 Bitcoin price target is actually still on track for the end of this year. So here's a really super quick recap on how the macro market works in terms of Bitcoin. Well, basically, Bitcoin allows for a certain amount of its coin to be mined every block. Every 4 years, represented by these segments here, every 4 years, as the amount which can be physically mined is reduced by exactly 50% or one half, and thus making Bitcoin a lot more scarce. There have been about 4 Bitcoin halving cycles since the creation of Bitcoin. Now, within each cycle, there has been at least one major peak, which is followed almost immediately by a crash. Now, the peak of each cycle is always magnitudes greater than the previous peak. For example, in cycle 1, the cycle 1 increased by nearly 40 times by the time it was cycle 2. Cycle 2 increased by nearly 20 times by the time it was cycle 3. However, cycle 3, it has actually barely tripled so far. In comparison to where we are right now, which is cycle 4. And market analysts are saying that according to the stock to flow model, which has actually been very reliable in tracking the price of Bitcoin so far, Bitcoin has to reach a minimum of at least 135K for the model to remain intact. In fact, if the same growth pattern continues, Bitcoin is actually anticipated to reach 200K well before the next halving cycle. Now, however, I want you to notice that each peak always it always happens above the stock to flow model, meaning that I think I'll just show you this chart here. Each peak, it always happens above the stock to flow model, and whenever this happens, it means that demand exceeds the supply, and that happened at each peak time. So whenever that happens, that's usually a strong indicator of a crash which is about to happen. And in fact, PlanB, who's the originator of this model, he says that according to on-chain metrics, it's possible that in between Q1 and Q2 of 2022, Bitcoin could overinflate to even up to 200,000, and some analysts even say 300,000 before crashing back down pretty hard before 100K. But he doesn't say it publicly because he doesn't want to inadvertently cause it to happen, because he's such a figure in the crypto space. If I can find the link again, I'll leave it in the description for you guys to check out. So anyway, I think that's enough for the crash course. Alright guys, so before I continue, let's start the simulation. Before I continue, I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. These videos are for information and entertainment purposes only. In fact, if you want to run your own simulations, I'll leave the links to this exact same spreadsheet which I use in the description below. Alright guys, let's have some fun. In my previous simulation, I left the Bitcoin price at roughly 100K by about December. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to increase this to roughly 200k by June of 2022 to match up with Plan B's target. So in order to do this, let's see if I can get us to 200k. I'm just going to make a few adjustments here just so I can adjust the market cap. I'm going to give us the exact circulating supply, which is going to be around June. So this currently gives us a Bitcoin price in June of 2022 of 200k, according to an estimate of the stock to flow model originator. All right, let's assume that this price is in June of 2022. If Bitcoin maintains its dominance ratio of about 45%, that's going to mean that the global market cap at this point, it'll be a massive, roughly about $8.5 billion, which is massive. But check this out. Currently, Shiba Inu, it actually has a market cap of 31 billion, represented by over here, and that's actually roughly about 2.3% of Bitcoin. So if SHIB can actually maintain this ratio as Bitcoin grows, it'll mean that SHIB can actually reach a market cap of roughly 1.66 billion before it crashes down to correction. So let's see what this looks like. So I'm just going to try and increase this market cap to about 166. So I'm just going to increase that. Maybe I'll add another 10 billion. Cool. So this gives us about 166 billion market cap. This is as long as SHIB continues to maintain its ratio size against Bitcoin. This will give us a price of about 3 zeros and about 304 Satoshi units. My current balance, let's just say I'm holding about 400,000 tokens. It'll be worth about 100k around about now. And that's pretty much where we're at. So some factors which might contribute to this result, it'll mean that it'll be probably first that there's going to be a lot of continued adoption of crypto, probably a lot of FOMO, and also if the Shiba Inu roadmap utility is successfully implemented between now and then. Anyway, let's head back to Bitcoin. Okay, so let's crash Bitcoin now just to see what would happen. Because at about this price, the analyst PlanB says that it would have been overbought by this stage. So I'm going to bring it down to roughly its price in about December. So I'm just going to try wipe off a good trillion there, and maybe I'll take off a couple here. So I'll bring it back down to its December price. Maybe I'll take off another. Okay, cool. So once I've done that, I'm just taking a look at my figures again. If this happens, SHIB maintains its peg, SHIB is going to have roughly a market cap of about 65 billion market cap, which is roughly two and a half from where it is now. Let's quickly simulate that. So just to recap, Bitcoin has now crashed from 200k to about 135k, and that'll be the market cap right there. So let's see what we can do with Shiba Inu. If we're going to try to bring it back down to about 60, 65. I'll just leave it there for now, which is pretty alright. So the good thing is usually the previous tops, they become the new bottom whenever crashes happen across cycles. But the question is, how will you manage a crash like that? Well, it's actually quite impossible to predict the top of the market, particularly in those conditions. But here are some common actions which people take. So number one, you could monitor external events which are influencing the increases and some of the catalysts, including FOMO, and then you could frequently take profit as the prices go up. You could also try use fundamental technical analysis to time the market for key points of entry and exit. You could also set a predetermined exit price target and then execute it no matter what. And that's actually quite a prudent strategy, which quite a lot of people use. Number four, you could also just be a solid diamond hander and just hold on for dear life with the rest of the SHIB army and weather out the storm, because many of us are holding at least up until about 2025 and beyond. And personally, my ideal would be somehow to be able to sell at the top and then to buy even more if SHIB comes back down to consolidation. But I usually fail dismally whenever I try to time the market like that. However, whatever you decide, I wish you guys all the best. Remember, guys, this is just a simulation based on data from other researchers. If you guys want to run your own simulations, not just for Shiba Inu, but for pretty much any crypto, you should just check out the crypto the links which I have in the description below. You might find them a useful preparation tool for for any catalyst which you're expecting. So I think that's a very good point to end the video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. This is Ace. Peace.